Alright guys, what's going on? Today I'm making a video on this Q&A that I posted on my second channel's community. Wanted to make a Q&A because I know I've never really done one. Should probably interact with you guys more often. So yeah, let's just jump into it. I'll have some background B-roll playing to keep our Zoomer minds attended and keep my video watch duration or whatever that is, video attendance or whatever it is, up. So the first one is, do you ever just sit down and think? So yeah, that's pretty much my whole life, is just sitting there and thinking, and disassociating. I do a lot of disassociating. So yeah. Next one is something I've been kind of wondering with content coming out of Ukraine and Gaza and the constant shelling and explosions present in those conflicts. Would a full cut helmet style such as a PASGAT or ACH be better in all-out war than a more tactical style? Or am I just thinking like an idiot? I feel like both styles have pros and cons. Just curious as to your thoughts. First off, that's not a stupid question, and you're not thinking like an idiot. It's something you should actually question. There's a lot of obsession over shit that doesn't matter, like BS, like optic horizons and shit. Thinking about your well-being from shrapnel flying all over the place is a lot more important than that. So kudos to your critical thinking skills, as a lot of people don't have them. So yeah, I've been having the exact same thoughts. And I think I looked it up I want to say a year ago, and I had an actual statistic of how many casualties are actually coming from getting hit in the side of the head. And I don't think it was it wasn't very much, but I think that was also from GWAT. So I would like to know the actual statistics currently. If anybody has those, post those in the comments below. But I think it's good to question that, and why high cuts became a thing to begin with, because they are becoming a lot more common, and even a lot of normal line Marine infantry units are getting high cuts right now. Whether they're actually using the Peltors, that's a different question. But the reason that high cuts came into existence was because of GWAT, and because apparently they weren't getting hit inside the head. And it's obviously high cuts are better because they are lighter, and it's a lot easier to just flip up your ear pro and be able to naturally use your ears. And also these soft guys that were getting these high cuts, they didn't really have to worry about or as much about the constant IED threats that more normal infantry guys were dealing with, because of the fact that a lot of these soft guys were conducting missions where the enemy didn't really know that they were coming, and a lot of these surprise kind of raids and stuff where the threat of IEDs wasn't as prevalent as it was for a normal infantry guy. So to answer your question, do I think that a full cut would probably benefit you? Probably from the constant shelling and shrapnel, it probably would. But I also don't know how much or how less safe a high cut really is with handling those. I think if you're wearing a high cut and you don't have external ear pro mounted onto it, then yeah, it's probably going to be a larger threat when it comes to shit flying in the air. And obviously Peltors are not bulletproof or anything, but I feel like Peltors would probably be better than just your head being bare. As to would I run a full cut in a conflict like Ukraine and Gaza, I'm not really sure. I've thought about it a little bit. I would say that if I am doing a more conventional role where I'm kind of especially if I was mechanized, if I was on the turret of a Humvee or some shit, I would probably want that. As the main problem with running under helmet ear pro is that it just becomes kind of suffocating over time. So for long durations of sitting in a trench, yeah, I would probably want flip ups on a high cut. so I can like conversate with the dudes next to me. But if I'm like just running missions, kind of just like attack objective, get the fuck out of there, kind of like what Knucking Fut's Yuri is doing. If you've seen some of his videos, I'll play some B-roll from him as well. He's running an ACH. Probably not because of the reasons that we think about it. It's just because he was in the army and he's like, oh, well, that's good to me, which is totally fine. To answer your question, it's really mission dependent. I think as like more of a guerrilla role where you're kind of like hitting and running, I would definitely choose like a high cut over a full cut. But for like that urban hell of Gaza, I would probably want a full cut. Now, for the PASGAT or ACH thing, I would never run a fucking PASGAT. If you've ever worn a PASGAT, they're really fucking heavy. And they don't really give much of an advantage over the ACH. I would probably recommend an ECH over an ACH, as I've heard they're more ballistically better. But I would not run a fucking PASGAT. Absolutely not. This slime commented, how well do you think the LFR butt pack and pouches would work on a normal Mali belt? So, funny thing is that when I bought the LFR, I bought it so I could take the butt pack off and put it on my Smersh. And then I learned that the butt pack is actually sewn to the LFR. And I'm like, fuck it. Well, I'll just run it and see if I like it. And then I ended up actually liking the LFR more than I liked the Smersh. NixieWorks is selling the butt pack like independently. But I don't really like the butt pack of the LFR anymore. I took one of the fucking like canteen things on the side. I took it off and I sewed Mali on so I could run like a Nalgene parka, which is for like cold weather shit, so my water doesn't freeze as easily. So yeah, I don't really like the NixieWorks butt pack. And for the pouches, again, I don't really know what you mean by pouches, because like the pouches aren't built into it. So NixieWorks makes pouches, and I do have like 2 of them. I only use 1 of them now. I think his pouches aren't bad, especially because he's a belt kit guy and is belt kit oriented. So I think his pouches would work just fine on a normal Mali belt. Next comment is favorite MRE, favorite color crewmate to play in Among Us, and favorite camo pattern. So favorite MRE, I gotta go with the meatballs and marinara, bro. Dude, that shit is like criminally underrated. Everyone's like, oh, well, it's good. Dude, it's fucking gas. Dude, that is a gas fucking MRE. It's got the meatballs and marinara, which is fucking gas. It's got the cobbler, which is fucking gas. And I think it comes with the cookie too. Fucking gas. Like, calorie overload. Good as fuck cold, which is fucking awesome. Because that's the only way I eat MREs. And yeah, dude, meatballs and marinara is like criminally underrated. Everyone's like, oh, I like Chili Mac. Dude, Chili Mac's fucking mid. It's mid as fuck. Meatballs and marinara is on top, bro. So on to the next question. Favorite color crewmate to play in Among Us? I'll be honest, man, I've never played Among Us. I know, it's like a disservice to my fellow Zoomers. I'm sorry, but I have never played Among Us. And favorite camo pattern, which also somebody else asked. My favorite camo pattern has got to be Con Camo, bro. More specifically, and it's hard because it's a toss-up because they have Con Camo Green and Con Camo Brown. And I really like Con Camo Green, Gen 2. Gen 2, by the way. But I think Con Camo Brown just like goes everywhere. Like, I think it's just like universal. That is beautiful. I got Con Camo Green Gen 2 on my helmet right now, just because I like it. But I think Con Camo Brown, I think it's still the first generation. Dude, that's like the best camo in the world. Once like the US military like stops being like stupid as fuck about everything, which will never happen, but you know what I mean. Once the US military starts like looking into like prime camos and shit, and Con Camo makes their shit more accessible because they only sell like some shit from like Leo Cholera, or I've already been over this before, which is like a terrible cut. The uniform cut is fucking trash. I made a whole video on it. Don't watch that video because I'm cringe as fucking it, like cringe boot in that video. The cuts of the uniforms that are made from that amazing camouflage fucking like blow cock, but like the camo itself is like fire, which is why I bought the Condura, like the actual like material, the nylon of that fucking camouflage, Con Camo Gen. Con Camo Green Gen 2, and I made that into the scrim on my helmet. So yeah, Con Camo is fucking gas, bro. If you have not heard about it, you gotta look into that shit. So next comment after that is favorite rucksack and assault pack. So right now I am running the UTactic Raid 45 plus 10. I think they might have changed the name a little bit. I did a shitload of research before I bought that ruck because it's from Ukraine, and it also took like forever to get here. I'm pretty happy with the ruck, not gonna lie. I had to make some modifications to it in my fucking my how to install Qt releases thing. That was about, I did it on that ruck. It's a great ruck, I'm not gonna lie. And it's basically like an ILBE, but like better and also more lighter, and it's also like multicam. So I need that for the kind of shit that I do. So yeah, it's a fire ruck, but it's also from Ukraine. It's made by a Ukrainian company, so like pain in the ass to get. And also I'm going to be buying a bigger ruck in the future because I need like a bigger ruck for like the infantry shit that I do. I don't know how people are like getting away with these like 30 liter like 35 liter rucks for like field use. I genuinely like do not know how people are getting away with that kind of shit, because it's not enough space, especially like. So my rule with rucks is that like load your ruck up and like figure out how much, like what size ruck you need, and then add like 10 to 15 liters on top of that, because mission critical gear from like, depending on what you're doing, again, I always preach like be flexible. If you end up being given like a law or some kind of like rocket or something or shit like that, you're gonna need fucking room for that. Carrying other people's shit, sometimes you gotta fucking carry that. Roles change, things change, you gotta remain flexible. So I hate when I see like people's like rucks like packed completely fucking full. Like that's concerning to me, because it's like, dude, you have no room to like be flexible or add additional shit. I'm gonna need a bigger ruck, but it's doing what I want right now. And it's probably still going to be my primary like LARP ruck. And to answer the question about assault packs, I've been using the Herblay stock Bandit for I want to say a year now. It's a great pack. I think it's about 11 liters or something, and it's doing what I need it to do right now. I might want something bigger at some point, but it's been good right now. I usually double it as a Camelback, and I'll keep my Gore-Tex in it, and like thermal, and it's got a good amount of room. It's not huge though, but like I think it's a pretty good assault pack. And I sewed 2 buckles onto the side of it. Oh, actually I sewed 4 buckles onto the side of it, so I can actually clip it right onto the top of my ruck. It doubles as like kind of like a blowout pack. If I need to, I can pull that off the top. So that's what I've been using. It's been pretty reliable. I like it. I'd probably recommend it. Yeah. This comment is, what keeps things fresh for you? Great question. Especially when you're like at the point that like I am at, where I've been doing this for like over 4 fucking years now. What keeps things fresh, man? One of the things is, training, not just training unconventionally. Like a lot of us in this scene, like we're unconventional pilled. Like we're not being like backed by the logistics of the US military. We get that conventional army doctrine is not like an end all be all. Which is great, because unfortunately a lot of people do think that, and it's embarrassing. So not just training unconventionally, but also training conventionally. I know like, whoa, plate carriers are cringe and all that shit. Yeah, plate carriers are like annoying as hell to wear, and plates fucking suck, and they're heavy as fuck. But like, you need to like have, the thing is that as like a LARPer, you need to have experience not only training like unconventionally in like guerrilla tactics, but you also need experience in that more conventional like infantry fucking small unit tactics side shit, because they both like mix together. And for the future to come, we don't really know what's going to happen. We don't really know how this is all going to play out, so we need to remain flexible. So yeah, I do believe that like training like in the woods, belt kit, ruck, you know, filtering your own water, shit like that. I do believe that's very important. I also believe that serving like a conventional infantryman is also important in case you are put into that role. The main reason I dug that trench, other than that, yeah, it's fucking awesome, is because I wanted to train what, you know, conventional warfare is definitely looking at right now. I had a plate carry on during that. I mock fragged it. Obviously, I don't have real frags, but, you know, I mock fragged the fucking trench, and I go in, and I'm dealing with, you know, like, fucking logs over my head, and I'm, like, fighting in the trench and shit like that. And that's all conventional shit. Like, that is all part of what conventional warfare is right now. So I think that keeps things fresh. And also, another thing is just, like, change up your fucking, like, scenery. You know what I mean? A lot of us, like, find our in a wood spot. We kind of find, like, you know, where things are. You know, this place is really wide open, you know. This place is hilly, and, you know, this place is more scenic and shit like that. Dude, go to different places. You know what I mean? Like, go to different sides and different parts, and, you know, go northeast, southwest, you know, go to different areas, shit like that. That's what keeps it fresh. Having those new experiences, going to new places, and forming new memories in new areas, that's what keeps it fresh. And also, man, you don't just have to LARP. You can indulge in, like, other hobbies and shit. Things that are, like, similar to LARP. A big one is, like, urban exploration. Like, a lot of people who like this LARPing kind of stuff also like urban exploration. They like to find, like, hidden pieces of fucking time. They like to find these, like, abandoned buildings. They're like, it's really cool. So, like, that also keeps things fresh. And a lot of the time with urban exploration, you get that, like, real world, like, factor of, like, okay, I actually have to be kind of cautious doing this. Like, there might actually be some real danger here that, you know, I could fall, I could get hurt, or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And also with urban exploration, you kind of, like, have to plan the way that you go into things. You can't just, like, park on the side of the road and walk in for a lot of these things. You have to, like, plan your routes in, you know, plan what time of day you're doing these kind of things, you know. It's like real life training with real life consequences. This comment reads, what is the most important thing to accomplish on an average outing? So I don't have just, like, one thing that I need to accomplish every outing. I have to accomplish at least one of 4 things when I go on an outing, okay? So I have this like checklist, all right? If I am not tired, I'm not sore, I didn't learn anything new, or I didn't get better at something, I don't consider that training. Like, this kind of, like, armed walking thing, like, just, like, going out and walking around in the woods with a gun, I don't consider that training. That's not training. That's just walking around with a gun. Now, walking around with a rifle and a ruck, that's a different thing. That's part of the soreness. So if you get done with your outing and you're sore, that's training. So you got to do one of those 4 things. Otherwise, you're just, like, walking around in the woods with a gun, which is, like, anybody can do that. That doesn't really make you better. You're not, like, any better coming out of the woods than when you went in. That's the entire, like, point of this. Like, you go in, you get better, you come out, you drive your happy ass home. You know, that's how this works. So out of those 4 things, what do I personally think is the most important right now? I would say probably getting better at something. Like, getting those reps in. Like, I'm at a certain point where I'm, like, not getting a lot of, like, new experiences anymore. I've pretty much done, like, everything I want to fucking do. So just, like, getting the reps in and kind of getting that, like, ingrained, that's what I'm pretty much looking at. The B-roll that you're watching is me going out with a ruck on, so I'm trying to get sore, and I'm basically finding an area that I want to set up a mock patrol base in, and then from there, I'm setting up, like, what I think would be the best, like, apexes for this area, like a 240, or less ideally, like, a saw. So I'm training that. And I'm also training setting up a ridgeline. Again, I really don't like knots, okay? I don't like knots, and I certainly don't like knots with 550 cord or paracord. I don't like it. I don't really like setting up ridgelines. I think knots have always been, like, a pain in the ass to me. Even, like, when I did, like, Boy Scouts as a kid, knots have always been, like, my enemy. So I'm setting up my ridge line in this as well, and I'm trying to, like, get better at that. Okay, so this next comment is, what's your favorite Zilla Cami, including leaks, and Mitski song? I really like this question. I appreciate that you show interest in my music taste. Zilla Cami, it's probably gonna be like either like Not Worth It, or I also like Bleach. And Black Cats is just like a great song. Like, undoubtedly, it's just a good song. And Mitski, I have not listened to a whole lot of Mitski this year, not gonna lie. Definitely like early last year I was listening to like a lot of her. And probably like Should Have Been Me or Why Didn't You Stop Me. Those are both like pretty good songs. This comment reads, are you a leg? Am I a leg? I just, personally, I'm just kind of like sitting here. I'm just like wondering, hey, damn, when was the last combat jump? It's got to be, oh shit, over like 20 years now since the last combat. Oh, jeez, that's a long time. Not gonna lie, over like 20 years since the last combat jump. Damn. So to answer your question, yeah, my knees are still kind of intact. But yeah, I'm a leg. This comment reads, how much do your takedown pins weigh? Sorry, man, I can't really answer that question because, my takedown pins don't come out of my lower. Unfortunately, I don't have a piece of shit polymer lower that sucks ass and, doesn't have an adjustable length of pull and is was originally shielded by, a shady character. And unfortunately I can't just like lose my takedown pins like that. I know, it's horrible, right? So no, I don't know how much my fucking takedown pins weigh. Do you have any book recommendations that provide good info on training / prepping? I'll be honest, I'm not a big like book guy. Even like audiobooks, I'm not like a really big. I don't like sit down and like listen to podcasts and shit. Last audiobook I listened to was like Between the Lines of Drift, and that was like, that had some pretty good information in it about like escape and evasion, like SEER type shit, like real world shit. And also like, it's not in a war, like it's right here in America, so it was like a very interesting perspective on it all. I didn't finish it, but it's interesting, and I think a lot of people here would be probably pretty intrigued by that. Other books, Flea, War of Flea. I know a lot of people recommend that one. I haven't read it. Maybe I should, but I know that's a popular one. I think one that's definitely like really helpful though is like the 2015 Ranger Handbook, like the smaller one. I don't think that you should like take it like verbatim. Obviously, like we're kind of, preaching like flexibility here, but I think it has a good amount of like information in it about things that are relevant. Next one is, what's your favorite reference, documentation, YouTube channel, person, or whatever to learn from when training? I'll be honest, man, I don't really watch a whole lot of like LARPtube anymore. I used to be a lot bigger about it. It's just at this point, I feel like every video I watch is just saying something that I've already heard. I feel like I'm to that point where it's just like, oh yeah, well that's okay, I already know that. And I'm just kind of wasting my time watching a lot of these videos. And what I do still watch though is I'm still watching like a good amount of like combat footage breakdown videos. I think those are really interesting, especially from like the service member point of view, from like the American military point of view. Definitely from like officers and like NCOs and their takes on like battles and like what's going on in it. That's definitely very like interesting to me to like see what they think about it all, because it's not just like, I don't like just like verbatim doctrine. I like seeing like how things are actually applied. Maybe it's because in school I was taught a bunch of bullshit that I never fucking used, and I just realized that like a lot of things written down tend to be like, well, this is hypothetically how you're supposed to do it, and that's not actually like how shit happens. So I think watching these like combat footage breakdown videos are like pretty like informative for me. This comment is, what is something that you wish to achieve within this year or in the next couple years in regards to training, preparedness, and just general things of those subjects? Basically, my main focus now is kind of like honing in on those like little things that I can't really like do like blindfolded, like ridge lines and like, you know, range cards and shit. I'm also doing range cards in the B-roll. I'm not like, that's not just like second nature to me. I've done a good bit of it, but like I still have like questions about it and like what it really serves, and the real full picture is what I'm really trying to get at this year. And along with that, kind of like bridging that gap from like Joe means lower enlistment, by the way, bridging that gap from like Joe to like NCO, like kind of figuring out what it means to be a leader and like what goes into that kind of shit, what kind of shit you should really know in order to take that step up into like an actual leadership role. I think it's important to like actually be pretty good at your job before you take that step up into a leadership role. All the more power to those high speed guys that just like, you know, get into like that E5 slot like pretty quickly in their career. Like, more power to you. Personally, I just like to more fully digest things at my own rate before I kind of take on that responsibility of like also being in charge of other people and doing my job at the same time. So yeah, basically kind of like learning more of that like leadership role and what really goes into that. Next is, what's something you appreciate that you have learned while training? I think that's too vague of a question to like really give an answer to. I've appreciated a lot of things, whether it's like the people I've met, the experiences that I've had, or like the actual like skills that I've learned. There's a lot of it. There's just like too much to like really place it down. I've been grateful enough to have pretty good leadership who are like professional and like actually give a fuck about their guys. So I think just like what I've really appreciated is being able to see like what actual good leadership looks like and wanting to replicate that. This comment reads, how often are you watching Grantham in a week? Every day, motherfucker. No. I don't think I've fully watched a Grantham video in at least like a year now. And maybe I should. You know, I shouldn't be so about everything. I think you should stay flexible. I think you can learn a lot of things from a lot of different people. Just because he's a gooner doesn't mean that everything he says is BS. I think that he could teach a lot more things, a lot more important things, considering he went to SEER and did all this like important shit, and he just makes like very like base level videos where he's like, well, the fundamentals of camouflaging is that you need to break up your silhouette and you need to wear things that looks like the environment around you. Like, yeah, no fucking shit, bro. I might watch his interviews with like those Ukrainian guys, or those dudes that fought in Ukraine. And also I might watch the video. I think he did one recently about interviewing dudes who fought in Gaza. I think interviews are like really, really telling a lot of the time. But no, I don't watch Grantham. This comment is, how important is faith to you? Kind of personal, but in a world largely full of secular fools, it's good to see some faithful men still. So, to give some backstory, I was raised Lutheran, and my parents weren't like super like involved in the church or anything. My dad was definitely more religious than my mom, and I didn't like always like church, but I always thought that it made sense, like the idea of God, and more specifically the idea of Christianity. I always thought it like made sense, and growing up it's made even more sense. I think Christianity is the correct religion because I think Christianity is probably like the least worldly religion. You look at a lot of these religions and like a lot of it is like, oh, well, you'll be, you know, given sex in heaven and shit like that. And it's like, what? Like, what? I thought like God is supposed to be like not of this earth, you know what I mean? Like, I thought that he's supposed to be like way beyond our like depth of like what is holy, and yet you're telling me that the epitome of existence is like you'll have sex when you die. Like I feel like that's a very like worldly thing, and I don't see that in Christianity. I see a lot of things in Christianity that is like reject your flesh, don't embrace hate in your heart. And a lot of these things are like very against like the rule of man, like very against like what human nature naturally is. Like human nature is inherently like lustful, and human nature inherently like despises other people. I think Christianity just makes sense because it's like so against the world, and that's why I like it. I feel like it's like a real counterculture, and it comes from God. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that I've always been like the best the best man ever. I've definitely had my moments of rebelling against God and falling away from God. I've 100% had that. And where my denomination stands at today is still kind of up for debate. But faith is just important to me because it's always going to have that like moral basis in me. Like Christianity will always be part of my morality. Real Trooper of Silly Maxia says, any advice on customizing or modifying No Molly challenge? Dude, okay. If you're not using Molly, I'm gonna assume you're using Alice. And I'm sorry, bro. You just can't, man. I'm sorry, bro. But like Alice, it's gotta go at some point. Like I know, dude, I love Alice. Do you really though? Like, do you really though? Or do you just like, you're just like, dude, but it looks so cool, man. I got that, that 90s vibe, bro. Like I got that Granada vibe. Dude, I'm sorry, man. The Alice just has to stop at some point. Like, at a certain point, you just gotta be like, okay, man, this thing kind of sucks. So, advice on customizing a non-Molly kit is to move to a Molly kit. Like, and I get that, like, price is, like, an issue sometimes, man. But, like, it can't be that big of a fucking issue. Like, it really can't be that you're choosing Alice over, like... I'm running, like, a $50, like, Novarich battle belt with, like, $25 Condor H harness on it right now on my infantry belt kit. Like, it can't be that much cheaper than that. Like, Alice cannot be that much cheaper than that. This comment reads, does your team know when to meet up if you can't get a hold of each other? Do you guys have a set pace plan in place? I don't think people, like, really understand, like, how far out me and, like, these other dudes are. And even if we had, like, a pace plan, or we had, like, any plan, I wouldn't, like, disclose that publicly. If you're, like, kind of more asking if you should probably do that with your dudes, yeah, you should probably do that. But, no, we don't really have that. And even if we did, I probably wouldn't even say that we did. Next comment is, opinions on suppressors and fortifications or dugouts. So my opinions on suppressors are this. Like, I think suppressors are cool. I think they definitely have their place. I'm just not sold on the idea of getting one. And yeah, it's because I don't really want to register a suppressor to my name, especially when suppressors are like so by politicians. And I also don't want to pay some dumbass tax stamp for no fucking reason. But it's also like I just don't really see the benefit of it in like the majority of cases. Like, oh yeah, it's quieter, bro. If you have like electronic ear protection on, which like most of us do at this point, it doesn't sound that much different when you have like a suppressor being shot at you. So last summer, I was behind a berm and we had this little thing where it was kind of like that one administrative results video where he like gets behind the berm and they like shoot a fucking MG3 at him or whatever. But like we pretty much did the same thing, except for it didn't like really go over us, or maybe it did, I don't really know. But we were behind a berm and they shot at the berm, and I had my Peltors on and I could hear all the gunshots, and one of them had a suppressor and he was going psh, 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 and it sounded all the same. So I do believe that suppressors have their place. I just think that it's weight on your rifle, and it mucks up your rifle, and it gets really hot. And yeah, that's my opinion on suppressors. And for the fortifications and dugouts, yeah, it's gonna happen at some point. Like you're going to be digging a ditch at some point. Might as well do it. Might as well get some practice in now, at least, of like how to actually do it. Obviously that's more of a conventional thing though, as again, the guerrillas like playing it all is kind of more like a hit and run kind of thing, like not staying in the same place for more than like 24 hours usually, which is also a thing for like a normal patrol base. You're not supposed to be in one spot for more than 24 hours. You're not supposed to have one patrol base in one spot for more than 24 hours, but like, so yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. This comment reads, how is the Holosun laser holding up, and would you recommend it? I'll be honest, I really didn't give that much of a fuck when I bought it. I've used PEX before. I've used my Holosun before. I can't really tell the difference. Like, and maybe I'm like, oh, well, somebody's probably like, well, it's actually like this. It's like, dude, it's a fucking laser. Like, I'm probably like missing like the bigger picture here, but like, it's a laser. I point it off of my rifle. I aim it at things. I shoot it. It's like, it's a fucking laser. Like, I know a lot of people like, and like on like gun forums and shit, about like, you need to like actual PEQ. I just, speaking from someone who's used both, I just don't really see the difference. I'm not gonna lie. How's it holding up? It's a fucking brick. The thing is heavy as hell, which is why I moved it back on my rifle, and then I showed the other guys that, and then Cytox put it in his video and didn't credit me. So yeah, it's heavy as hell. Ruski Operator, oh boy, says, are you freaky? Oh yeah, Ruski Operator, I am. Okay, alright. Alright, bro. Next comment. Next Meyer Flyer AATH Goonsesh? I should be at the next one. I don't know if I will be, but I think I will. I don't really know. But yeah, that's basically how it goes. I don't really know, if I'm being honest. I have like schedule issues, and I might be there, I might not. This comment reads, opinion on cheese. Dude, you already fucking know, bro. It's the GOAT. It's the GOAT! Yeah, I like cheese. A Loyal Slime says, do you ever plan on collaborating again with other content creators? Probably not. I mean, unless, usually it's like this. Like, if I find a guy and I think that he's cool, I'll usually like feel him out, see if he like knows what's up. And like, if he doesn't, I usually like, okay. And I usually like don't really associate with him. But it's just like, it's just finding people, really. Like, it might happen again. Just like as of right now, probably not, but it could happen. I don't know. You just gotta like know what the fuck is up and like not be stupid. And then, yeah, I'll probably be chill with you. But if you don't check all the boxes, I'm probably gonna keep my distance a little bit. Also, what goes through your mind when you're covered in mud, cold and wet, and are just miserable? So this is a skill that like a lot of people like need to like develop. And that is, and it's less about like going out and just getting like fucked up and being like fuck, and then like it's kind of like naturally getting like in that position is like way worse than being like, oh, I'm gonna like jump in this puddle for this battle drill. Naturally, like being in the shit like that, you're just like, fuck. So to answer your question, a lot of times I like just go internal and disassociate, or a lot of time I just sing to myself. During movements, a lot of the time I'll just be singing to myself. Like, obviously not out loud, but like in my head, I'll just sing to myself. And like pick a certain song and just sing it, and that usually like helps with the suck. Those are my like main ways of like a coping mechanism, is going internal and like singing to myself. Tips to others when it comes to training. Oh boy, I'm so fucking glad I got this question. The number one tip that I would give everyone is have fucking standards. Have fucking standards. Have fucking standards. Oh my gosh. This is such a big fucking problem. This is such a big problem that people have zero fucking standards. Oh my gosh. You need to be able to compete with something and be better than it. Like, yeah, like, and I don't know why that's like not a concept that a lot of people are grasping. Even in like the most like basic things in life, like sports, like even like people get it there. Well, okay, I need to practice more so I can be better than like some other force. I get that like there's no like actual like enemy that you can like compare yourself to. So like just compare yourself to other fucking dudes. Like one that I'll say, dude, look at the average Marine infantryman. Are you on par with the average Marine infantryman? Yes or no? If your answer is no, then you might want to work on that a little more. It's shit like that, bro. It's like you need to have a fucking like a bar. You need to have a bar. You need to be at least at a bar. Every like functioning fighting force on the entire fucking planet has some kind of standard, has some kind of bar. And for some reason, in LARP, there is no bar, or the bar is super low because you see these like fat idiots walking around in circles in the woods and not really doing a whole lot. That should not be your standard, bro. Like these like fatsos that don't know anything, that's not your fucking standard. I hope you know that. That's not a standard that you need to set and then be, well, oh yeah, I'm not Rhodey's Plaid, you know, I'm not Chow Down Systems, like yeah, dude, that's like easy pickings, bro. There's like idiots in everything you do. There's idiots in sports. There's idiots in like in your job. Like, don't just like go for the lowest dude in there and be like, well, yeah, I'm better than him. Okay, yeah, dude, so is you and like everyone else. Like, so is you and like 80% of everyone else. That's like not a fucking standard. That's not a bar. That's just like easy pickings. You need to have an actual fucking standard. Have a standard. And the last comment is, what's your favorite bug? And the caterpillar and eyes emoji with a bunch of question marks. Never really gave it a whole lot of thought. But if I had to say, I'd probably say like a butterfly. I like butterflies. They're pretty cool. Pretty chill. This comment from my dear slime says, how would you personally disseminate tasks and responsibilities in a smaller 3 to 5 man group compared to a regular 9-man squad? I feel like the military has kind of already answered this question. The way that like the chain of command is set up in the military is a lot of the time the way is that obviously you have your squad leaders and your team leaders, and they're that way because they, you know, went through some sort of leadership training. But the military is also set up to the way that like if one of them, you know, becomes a casualty, the next dude can just step up. And a lot of times people don't even need to be eliminated. We're just like so fucking short-staffed that sometimes there is like E3s filling team leader roles. You know, a lot of the time there are E5s filling squad leader roles. It's shit like that. It's in a 3 to 5 man squad, who's really going to be the squad leader there? The dude who has the most leadership training, or the dude that has the most like actual field experience? Like when we did our, you know, training, obviously I was like the leader there because, you know, I knew the area and whatever. But it's also because I'm the fucking infantry guy there and we're doing small unit tactic. You know, I'm the dude there with the most amount of experience in small unit tactics. So I'm teaching a lot of like things that like aren't really part of your knowledge set quite yet. You're going to get there. Because I'm the dude that knows that shit. So for a 3 to 5 man group, I think there needs to be leadership. I don't think that it's really that hot of a take to be like, if you have a small group, someone should be a leader in that group. Like, I think we all know this. And I think we all kind of know who knows what's up a little more. It's usually the vets, let's be honest here. But, like, again, for this, like, 3 to 5 man group thing, I know that, like, bringing leadership into your group sometimes is kind of, like, awkward. Because, like, dude, that's my buddy. You know, we shoot the shit. You know, we have good times together and everything. But, like, you need to realize, a lot of people need to break out of this, like, good times with the boys mentality. Like, I get it, bro. Life's hard right now. You know, you want to fucking, like, have fun on the weekends. You know, you've been fucking slaving all week. But, like, I promise you, you're going to get, like, a lot more fucking done. And you're going to be, like, a lot, like, more proficient if you treat this like a job just for right now. You know, when you guys are, like, chilling out, you know, you're fucking eating food and having chow and cracking fucking jokes and shit. Sure, bullshit. But, like, when you're actually doing your fucking movements, when you're actually doing your training, you need to be fucking professional. And that's something that I press when I train with you guys, on my part at least. I was pressing on myself, is that I gotta be fucking professional. Like, being a leader is a fucking job. Like, it's something that you need to show discipline, competence, and professionalism in. So, to answer your question, there should be a leader in the group. He should help other people. He should hold other people to a certain standard. This comment says, what skills would you say to prioritize over skills you think are sensationalized and overhyped? Let's be honest here. The whole room clearing thing is really overhyped. Like, it's good to know. Like, don't get me wrong. I think everyone should know basic slicing the pie. But a lot of people, like, sit down and they watch these, like, Project Gecko videos, and they don't realize that the reason that they train the way they do is because a lot of these dudes are either soft or they're cops. You know, soft and cops kind of have a different role than, like, dudes fighting in, like, clusterfuck war. And you can see this coming out of Ukraine. There's that super popular CivDiv video where they're not doing tap dancing CQB. They're, like, fragging the fuck out of this building and shooting in fucking windows and shit. And they don't know what they're shooting at. Because, like, CQB is, like, super fucking overrated. Don't get me wrong, room clearing is super fucking fun. Like, it's hella fun when you actually do it. Minus if you're using live rounds and you're shooting, like, inside, like, a concrete building. That concussion fucking sucks. But, obviously room clearing is, like, overrated as fuck. You need to, like, actually do things that are gonna be helpful in, like, more than, like, 10% of the cases, if even that. So, what do I think you should prioritize? I think you should prioritize mental skills a lot. Again, coping with the suck is, like, really big. Being resilient and being able to bounce back is really big. You know, this shit sucks a lot of the time. Like, if you're doing this shit for real, it sucks a lot of the time. Like, you're cold, you're tired as fuck, this shit's heavy. Like, you're just like, fuck, you know. I have those moments where I'm just like, fuck. But, like, having that resiliency, you know, being able to keep your head up high is, like, something that not a lot of people talk about. I know you're probably looking for, like, a more, well, hands-on kind of task. So I don't really have an answer for that. I think that you should get into the suck, spend a couple hours there, if not days, and learn how to deal with it. This comment reads, what do you run for your IFAK? So I know in that belt kit video I made, I talked about, well, I only run a grenade pouch with fucking an Israeli bandage of packing gauze. I don't do that anymore. I want to be more flexible with the stuff that I have. And I want my kit to be flexible. I think that's a good thing that belt kit does, is that it's very flexible. You can throw it over a fucking plate carrier. I prefer running it over a plate carrier, by the way. Just my personal opinion. Not under. But to answer your question, what's in your IFAK? Pretty much what they give me, bro. I think is, as long as the shit that you have in your IFAK can be applied in March, massive hemorrhaging, airway, respiratory, circulation, hypothermia, as long as what you're doing, as long as what you have can be used for that, I think it's good to go. Mind you, I'm not a medic, though. That's just my personal opinion right now. It could change. And the last comment I'm going to be going over, because a lot of them were just like really stupid. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to just like respond to like dumbass shit. Like, I don't know. Do you want me to respond to, where's your jelking chamber or whatever? What the fuck am I supposed to say to that? So the last comment I'm going to go over is, do it grip. And, it do. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys watching the video. I hope that you guys got to this part. I tried to relay some like important information and like things that I actually believe and things that I think will actually like help you, not the just like stupid bullshit that gun tubers say that is used to entertain the masses. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you got any more comments about the things that I said, and leave them below. I'll try to get to them. Obviously, if they're just going to be stupid, like, does that Badussi stank? I'm not probably going to respond to that comment, not going to lie. But if you leave some, like, good comments that I can respond to, I'll respond to them. If you leave a comment that's, I guess, worthy of a response, I'll respond to it. And I hope I can help you out. But that's pretty much the wrap of this video. I hope it was entertaining enough. I hope I had enough B-roll for all this shit. I know it got kind of long. But yeah, I hope this video helped somebody. And yeah, that's all I really got to say. Take care. Make yourself better. And yeah, be awesome or whatever. Okay, bye.